We're going to talk about Gothic literature. In layman's terms, Gothic literature can be defined as writing that employs dark and picturesque scenery, startling and melodramatic narrative devices, and an overall atmosphere of exoticism, mystery, fear, and dread. A Gothic novel or story will revolve around a large ancient house that conceals a terrible secret and serves as the refuge of an especially threatening and threatening character. Despite the fairly common use of this leitmotif, Gothic writers have also used supernatural elements, touches of romance, well-known historical characters, and travel and adventures narratives to entertain their readers. Development. The first mention of Gothic as threatening to literature was in the subtitle of Horace Walpole's 1765 story, The Castle of Otranto, a Gothic story, which was supposed to have been meant by the author as a subtle joke. When he used the word, it meant something like barbarous as well as deriving from the Middle Ages. The supernatural elements in the story, though, launched a whole new genre which took off in Europe. The Americas Edgar Allan Poe got a hold of it in the mid 80s and succeeded like no one else. In Gothic literature, he founded a place to explore psychological trauma, the evils of man, and mental illness. Here are three Gothic writers, which are Edgar Allan Poe, Brandon Stoker, and Mary Shelley.
In the 18th century, few of the most influential and popular Gothic writers were Horace Walpole, The Castle of Otranto in 1765, Anne Radcliffe, Mysteries of Udolpho in 1794, Matthew Lewis, The Monk in 1796, and the Charles Brockden Brown Wyland in 1798. In the 19th century, Sir Walter Scott, The Tapes Tried Chamber in 1829 adopted Gothic conventions that later, as Victorian writers such as Robert Louis Stevenson, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in 1886, the Bram Stoker Dracula 1897, incorporated Gothic motifs in their stories of horror and suspense. Elements of Gothic fiction are prevalent in several of the acknowledged classics of the 19th century literature, including Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in 1818. Elements of Gothic literature are characters, which in Gothic fiction often find themselves in unfamiliar places as they and the readers leave the safe world they knew behind. Ghosts are night at home in genre where they used to explore themes of entrapment and isolation, while omens, curses, and superstitions add further air of mystery. Atmosphere. The atmosphere of eeriness is as important as the scariness of the events themselves. In a Gothic novel, the sky seems perpetually dark and stormy, the air filled with an unshakable chill. Themes. Gothic literature ventures into the dark necessities of the mind. The genre frequently comforts existential themes of madness, morality, and man pitted against God or nature. Physical and mental ruin go hand in hand as the ancient settings decay, so do the characters' grips of reality. Essential reads. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, 1886. Nothing encapsulates the themes of man's psychological torment and self-destruction more vividly than Robert Louis Stevenson's gripping novella. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is an account of a man with a good and evil battling within himself as Henry Jekyll, a morally upright and well-mannered doctor, struggles against the vile urges of his alter ego, Edward Hyde. Dracula by Bram Stoker, 1897. The book that launched 1,000 vampire stories, Bram Stoker's Dracula, is a haunting horror romance that gave us one of the most memorable and mesmerizing of Gothic figures. Count Dracula needs almost no introduction. His name is already synonymous with unquenchable bloodthirstiness. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, 1818. It's a classic tale of a man's folly in the pursuit of dangerous knowledge. Scientist Victor Frankenstein tries to play God by bringing life to reanimating corpses, but he is unable to comfort the sight of a terrible thing that he has created. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher. We deserve a 10.
Yay.